Hi everyone, I'm going to continue reading Runaway Ralph by Beverly Cleary. We are in the middle of chapter 5 called The Personal Mouse. Ralph gripped the bars of his cage and he waited for the boy's answer. Katzo's paw appeared through the hole in the screen door, but the human beings did not notice. Ralph watched and listened. The hole in the screen had stretched another half an inch. Garf picked up a scrap of plastic left over from someone's lanyard and twisted it in his fingers. "I can tell you one thing," he burst out. "I don't want to braid any stupid lanyards. I've braided lanyards in Cub Scouts, I've braided lanyards at the YMCA, I've braided lanyards in the park during the summer, and I've braided lanyards in the after-school recreation program. Nobody needs more than one lanyard, and I'm fed up with lanyards." And after this outburst, he sat staring at the floor. And when Aunt Jill remained silent, he went on. "And I want people to stop feeding my mouse. I caught him, and he's my mouse." "That's good," thought Ralph, "because if he runs away, he might take me, and then maybe I can escape and find my motorcycle again." "I think that can be arranged," said Aunt Jill. You've told me what you don't want to do and what you don't want other people to do. Now tell me what you do want to do." Ralph could tell from Garf's silence that this request was a difficult one. Aunt Jill seemed to have plenty of time to wait while he thought. Outside the craft shop, some boys were gathering bamboo husks to float in the irrigation ditch. Ralph watched to see if they might uncover the crash helmet and motorcycle, but they did not go to the far side of the bamboo. "Well, Garf began, and then he stopped, and Aunt Jill waited. So did Ralph, who noticed that Chum was also listening. Garf looked uncomfortable, and still Aunt Jill waited. "Go on, say something," thought Ralph. When Garf finally spoke, he no longer sounded angry. "Well, I guess I just want to be alone once in a while," he said. You want to be alone?" repeated Aunt Jill. "Yes," said Garf. "At home I have to share my room with my big brother, who gets the top bunk and keeps his weightlifting stuff all over the floor. And every time I go to our room and shut the door, he comes in and he starts playing those records I don't like. And after school and on Saturdays, it's always soccer or scouts or the Y or supervised recreation on the playground. My mom and dad say city kids have to be kept busy, and then they send me here." So they sent you to camp," said Aunt Jill, encouraging him to go on. "And you come into the craft shop to be alone?" "Yes," said Garf. "I don't like to sit around after meals with a bunch of kids singing 'You Are My Sunshine.'" "But you come in here and sing about the rabbit banging mice on the head," thought Ralph. "I don't like singing with other people," said Garf, "because I can't carry a tune. I know I sing funny, and I don't like people turning around staring at me." "Well, nobody cares whether you can carry a tune or not," said Aunt Jill. "But if you don't want to sing, you don't have to. And we all need to be alone sometimes." For the first time, Garf looked at the camp director. "And I know something that might help," Aunt Jill continued. "See that clump of bamboo over there? Anytime you feel like being alone, you may sit behind the bamboo as long as you wish." Garf looked as if he wanted to believe her. "Remember, Garf," said Aunt Jill, "it is possible to be alone in your thoughts even when there are others around." She rose from the bench where she and the boy had been sitting and found a piece of cardboard and a felt pen from the supply shelves. "Now, about your mouse. You take this pen and make a sign saying this is your mouse and no one else is to feed it, and I'll sign it to make it official, and we'll tack it up over the cage." Garf did not say anything, but he took the cardboard and the pen and he settled down at the table to work. He found a ruler and he marked straight lines on the cardboard to guide his printing. He worked a long line, ignoring the lanyard braiders, mosaic makers and insect collectors who came and went. A few people paused to see what he was printing, but no one disturbed him. Ralph sat watching quietly as the sign progressed. Sometimes Garf paused to whisper rhymes to himself. My, try, pry, pow, how, mow, read, lead, feed. Then he would go on with his work. He printed a few letters. He stared at the ceiling, whispered to himself, and he printed a few more letters. Near the end, he held up his work. He studied it, and he added something more. When at last he had laid down his pen and stood up, Aunt Jill came over to look at his sign, and it said, "Private. Keep out. This mouse is personal property of Garfield R. Jernigan. If you feed him, you will drop deed. Signed, ... And Aunt Jill signed her name on the dotted line. There, she said, that makes it an official Happy Acres Camp sign. She found 2 thumbtacks and Garf tacked his sign above Ralph's cage. For the first time, Ralph saw Garf grin, and when the boy left the craft shop, he did not sit behind the bamboo as Ralph had expected. He stopped to watch some campers who were jumping and bouncing on the trampoline under the direction of the counselor. Contented for the moment, Ralph made himself into a ball in the corner of his cage to enjoy a nap. He was not just any mouse. He was the personal mouse of Garfield R. Jernigan, a boy who wanted to run away, and the next time he was alone with his owner, he would be brave and speak up no matter what dreadful song he sang. Okay, friends, we are going to start chapter 6, and it is called A Thief in the Craft Shop. At first, the sign over Ralph's cage was the cause of argument. But Aunt Jill, how come Garf is the only one who gets to feed the mouse? The campers asked. I want to feed the mouse too. Well, why can't I feed the mouse? It isn't fair. Nobody else has a mouse. Aunt Jill always gave the same answer. Well, Garf gets to feed the mouse because the mouse is his. He caught it in a butterfly net. This policy inspired some of the campers to go mouse hunting, big game hunting, they called it, with butterfly nets. But when no mice were caught, enthusiasm waned, and the campers gradually lost interest. Catso followed someone into the craft shop whenever he could, and whenever he succeeded, Aunt Jill said, someone had better put that cat out. And here's a picture. Usually, Lena was the one who picked up Catso and held him with his face over her shoulder as if he were a baby. "Oh, poor baby," she crooned, patting Catso on the back as if she were burping an infant. Ralph found the smug look on Catso's face most annoying. Garf was happy, but Ralph was not. The boy showed no signs of running away, and now that he abided by the rules, the two were never alone. The bars of Ralph's cage enclosed a very small area, and no matter how fast he ran to his wheel, he remained in the same place. He began to sit motionless for long periods of time while he thought more and more about the freedom he had enjoyed back at the Mountain View Inn. He missed those long corridors and his exciting expeditions in search of food. What he had once called crumb scrounging now seemed a test of courage. He even came to admit that he missed his little brothers and sisters and cousins. They were nuisances, but they were livelier than a grumpy old hamster. Perhaps he wouldn't mind giving some of the little mice, boy mice of course, short rides on his motorcycle, after all. Most of all, Ralph missed that motorcycle. He clutched the wires of his cage, and recalling the nights he had sped through the corridors of the old hotel while guests snored behind closed doors, he tried to pretend they were the grips of his handlebar. But it was no use. The wires remained what they were, the wires of a small prison, higher but not as long as an economy-sized Kleenex box. Okay, friends, that's where we're going to stop today. We are in the middle of Chapter 6, A Thief in the Craft Shop. Done, done, done. Have a good day, and I'll read more later.